Hello all, welcome back to Aurora. This is Max. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit about terraforming. Terraforming is an extremely long and drawn out process, but if you really think about it, it should be. Uh, when you're creating an atmosphere for an entire planet, that is incredibly intense um, and very difficult. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to speed it up so you can get an idea for how to do it in future, just in the future at some point. So I'm going to turn on Space Master just to be able to skip ahead so you can see the steps in your own game. Space Master would be definitely cheating here, so I would recommend against it, but I want to show you just the steps, so it's educational cheating. Uh, I think that's a great excuse. All right, so what you want to do is take a biology major, give them a bunch of labs, and what you can do is do a terraforming module. Alternatively, what you can do is go to industry and build some missiles, terraforming installations. The cost here is 600. A terraforming module itself that goes on a ship is 500, which is very beneficial in terms of just the cost, and then also the fact that it's on a ship. It's able to go from one place to another because it's attached to engines. Um, so let's go ahead and get started with the ship process, because after a while the terraforming installations and relying on the civilian fleet just cuts in too much time, and it just gets very tedious. So let's go ahead and instantly research this terraforming module here. All right, and we are going to go up here to class design, and I'm going to choose this Arc Royal. Reduce its armor. I was trying to show you how armor worked in a um, previous tutorial, but anyway, so here's a cruiser. We're going to change it to a terraformer right here. And we go to design view, and terraformers are going to be out there for a long time, but what I like to do is bring in um, bring the people there first so it doesn't have to worry about deployment time. So I'll keep that the same. You might want to change it to 48 if it's going to a system that doesn't have people on it and you don't want there to be people on it for a while. Give it your standard commercial engines, and then we'll get back to fuel in a second. And where's it? Terraforming module right here. Give it 1. 2 is a good number, but don't forget, keep in mind your shipyards. How big is your biggest shipyard? And right here, unfortunately, mine's 48, and I have no desire to change that. So what I'm going to do is drop it down to 1 terraforming module. It's more economic to have it more terraforming modules in one ship. That way, a good commander can make use of multiple terraforming modules, but that might not be the best choice for you. Well, anyway, got our terraforming module. It's rather big, so keep that in mind. We have a pretty fair speed. Unfortunately, we don't have very good range. We'll have to add a few fuel tanks. Let's just do one very. No, that's too big. Let's go with 25 billion. Touch too large. Okay, let's keep it here. 15.6 billion. Highly doubt we're going to go that far, but hey, we'll keep it like this for now. I like to keep it on the fuller side of things, although it does eat into your fuel production quite a bit. All right, so we have our engines, we have the terraforming module, we have enough fuel. Deployment time is what we want it at. I can't think of anything else, so let's do it. All right, so we close out of here. It's the Arc Royal Terraformer. go up to manage shipyards. You're going to want to retool your civilian shipyards to our terraformers. Uh, Terraformer Arc Royal. It's instantaneous because I had to restart the game, if you might remember. And then we come over to uh, this task setting, whatever. Add the two tasks, and actually to speed up the process, I'm going to add a slipway up here during that process, and I might actually I'm going to pause mines, drop the mines down, and we are going to focus on creating two new civilian shipyard complexes. 2 at 20. There, that will give me a little bit more room to create more terraformers. Um, so that's going to go ahead and go. I'm going to pause the game and um, create a few terraformers here. Just a second. Okay, so at this point, I added 4 terraformers. They are located in Shipyard task group. What I like to do is remove them. I select all of the terraformers here, hit split the task group, and then I'm going to rename it Terraforming Task Group. Alright, so we have people already on Luna, or the moon, right? Okay. And we want to move them to the moon. I'm going to turn off Space Master for just a second here. And we're going to jump to the moon's environment. Environment is how you tell your terraformers what to do. And let's just wait a day here. All right, so we have 4 terraformers in orbit right now. And what do we want? Well, we want oxygen. Where are you? And we are going to want 0.1 oxygen. We're adding it to it and save. All right, so after 5 days or so, what we'll see here is oxygen has been added to our uh, our our atmosphere. It's not very much, but it will go ahead and slowly grow. At our annual production of 0.004, oh shoot, what is the right calculation? 360 divided by, how many weeks are there? Or how many 5-day increments are there? 72. Okay, 0.004 divided by 72. So it's a very small number that's being added every 5 days. But in the end, we're going to end up with 0.40 ATM. Now then, what are we looking for? What do you where are the targets here? What do you want? What do you want it to be at? Well, right here under this world, you can see what our environmental tolerances are. We want a certain amount of gravity. We're on the moon, and there are people there, so we're fine on gravity. But oxygen, we want the ATMs to be between 0.1 and 0.3. I've set it for the minimum, the 0.1 in oxygen there. However, we need to have our oxygen, there has to be a ratio. It can't just be pure oxygen. Pure oxygen will die. So we need to add some more atmosphere to this once we have our oxygen. So let's, I'm going to turn on Space Master so you can see what this looks like when there's actual numbers up there. So we're going to set the oxygen to 0.1. All right. What does this button do? I have no idea. All right. So 0.1, we now have a breathable atmosphere, and that's reflected in the system map or the system overview page. Where are you? Maybe it didn't show up. There we go. And the moon, it does not have a breathable atmosphere, but there is enough. Um, there happens to be enough oxygen in there uh, that we can breathe, but the oxygen percentage is above the 30%. So what can we do? Well, nitrogen is a neutral gas, for example. I'm sorry, hydrogen is a neutral gas. So we can add, you know, let's add in all right. So now our oxygen is at 25%. What does that say about the moon now? Um, oh my gosh, hydrogen, that's wrong. I'm so sorry. There should be all of zero hydrogen ever. It's nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen. And now we have a breathable atmosphere. All right. That's that's very, very helpful. Um, however, why do we have a planetary suitability that's not zero yet? I mean, they can breathe in the atmosphere, right? Unfortunately, we have a surface temperature in Celsius at negative 44. Um, that's pretty cold. I don't know if you've been outside and Celsius negative 4, or just negative 4 is very cold. But negative 44, it's getting there. So how do we combat that? Well, we want to add safe house green gas instead of doing nitrogen, because nitrogen it doesn't do very much other than just add a neutral gas. Um, what we want to do is add a safe greenhouse gas that is breathable, and we'll warm it up. All right. So now, with safe greenhouse gas of 0.3 and oxygen of 0.1, we have a good atmosphere. A bit thin, I'll grant you that, but oxygen is less than 30%, and that's the only ratio there that you need to care about. It's less than 30%. It could be 5%. It's fine, but oxygen is less than 30. 30%. We have at least one ATM in the air. And then our surface temperature in Celsius is 26, uh, and that is enough to make the moon as habitable as the Earth. All right, so that is how terraforming works. There could be, for example, Venus comes to mind. We'll create a colony. Create colony. Where are you? Add colony. All right, we have a colony on Venus now. Venus is widely known as the hardest planet to colonize fully, uh, and that's really because of all the ATMs on there. And it's very slow to remove gases. But essentially, if you want to remove excess nitrogen, you'd make it nitrogen, and we'd want it at, let's say, 0.3, but don't check the add gas to atmosphere, and that's enough to tell your terraformers to remove that. Um, oh, excuse me. The Some other places might have, and we saw this earlier, hydrogen or methane or ammonia that are dangerous gases. You're going to have to remove all of them altogether in order to make it a fully habitable planet. And to do that, you select the gas, don't add the gas, and then maximum ATM should be 0, and then that's enough to do that. I think that is it for now. Just trying to think, what more do you need to know about terraforming? Um, we've moved to we designed a ship that has terraforming modules in it. We moved them to the moon. We told them what we wanted as far as oxygen and safe greenhouse gas. If it's mercury, for example, which is extremely hot, you'll want the temperature to go down. You can do this anti-greenhouse gas that makes the temperature cooler. You can tell what your temperature is going to be, and you want it to be between -10 and 38. And just in general, match the Earth. The Earth is a great, a, a very useful place to look at. Just in terms of just trying to, well, what should I do here? Well, try to get it like this, and I think you'll be good. So we have the moon. I think we're good on this. So there's terraforming for you. Remember, design the ship, build the ship, um, move it to the planet, tell it what you want. Whoops, tell it what you want on the environment. Um, don't forget to check add gas or don't check add gas. Uh, and you should be fine. All right, well, that will conclude today.